Oh shit! What up?
Hello, everyone. For those watching, we've had a technical glitch, so we don't have little light up bubbles this time. Please.
Technical glitch. I'm in the same room as you. Hello, me twice.
And yes, Raymond's doing this from my location, so be prepared for loud echoes. Because we don't have bubbles, we also have Nick and Mark in here. Say hello, guys.
Are we here because we don't have bubble?
Yes.
Hello. If a bubble doesn't light up, do you really exist?
The
Sounds
tree
like
falls in the woods.
Are we
Do you
replacing the
exist?
bubbles?
That's how this works. If in no bubble, you don't actually exist. You guys are just figments of our imagination.
Hello, anyway.
Hello, figment of my imagination.
Pretend I'm not here.
have
Am
a
I
message
a
on the
figment
camera.
of my own imagination?
It says we're going in 5 to 10 minutes, as in we're starting. Okay, I guess I got that a bit late.
Yes, Mark, you are a figment of your own imagination. You are self-creating.
Excellent.
Alright. So, much like... Well, actually, I probably had more to add last time, but I've just been stuck moving to Newcastle and so forth, and... Yeah, we've had a lot of good rain, and it's a lot colder here than Queensland. Sadly.
Would that have anything to do with the fact that it's like 800 kilometers further south?
No. That's not how this works. Not at all. So, for those that have been able to keep up with what's going on, I'm looking at Mark, Nick, and Raymond here. What's happened in the last 2 weeks in gaming?
How are you looking at me?
I'm staring very strongly at the Mark Grant picture.
Ah,
Honestly, I don't remember which one's the Mark Grant picture, and I don't have access to that, so I think it's the one next to me. I know that Anton has the sketch of the anime girl. Not enough.
well, if we want to get out the stuff that we don't want to talk about first, Fortnite.
Yeah, let's talk about the stuff we don't want to talk about first.
That's
Apparently
normally how I do
Fortnite's
things.
getting a new update in their next season. So, DirectX 10, I don't really know what graphic cards use that. It's like 10-year-old software, I think.
10's quite old at this stage.
How the fuck do I
Yeah,
turn
that's
this
being
down?
changed, so you can only have DirectX. If you need DirectX 11 to run Fortnite in the next season.
So any graphics card made in the last 5 years on Windows 7 or above.
Yeah, but which sort of sucks because like you can play Fortnite on a mobile.
Actually, how's that work?
No idea. So if your graphics
You
card
get
is
the-
too shit, then start playing Fortnite on your phone.
Actually, doesn't Fortnite have a PlayStation version?
Yeah.
PlayStation can't run on DirectX, and it would be if it's with Epic, so all through Unreal. So that why? This actually makes no sense.
Oh, okay,
You're getting
right.
too technical there for me.
Well,
Confused.
it's all based off the same. It's all based off Unreal Engine, and a PlayStation 4 runs off basically OpenGL. So why the hell can't you play this on that? Actually, Unreal Engine 4 is not even limited to DirectX 11.
Dunno. Apparently, graphics cards after GTX 450 is able to run it. But also on Fortnite, they're bringing in a prop hunt game, which is cool. I've always wanted to play prop hunt because I don't have like Gary mod and all that. But I have no Fortnite people to play with.
I
Make some
honestly
Fortnite
have
friends.
no idea where this microphone is.
It's next to the camera, Raymond. You're on a laptop.
You know where you plug your headset into the laptop, talk into that little port.
Should I stick my tongue in the power socket?
That's how it works.
Talk into the 3mm jack. Just talk at it. In fact, if your tongue's not actively touching it, you're not doing it right. Please don't tongue my laptop.
How to get banned off Twitch? Give Raymond a laptop, apparently.
And this is how my laptop got AIDS.
Yes. I don't know. Follow-up news. Just Dance 2020 is going to be released on Nintendo Wii for some random reason.
Why that? What?
Like, I don't even know if you can buy Nintendo Wii games anymore. I'm assuming EB Games, which is like GameStop, you can buy it still, but you can't buy them new.
Yeah, it's pretty well cash converters or anywhere else now. You can't really just buy it new.
Apparently, there's going to be a Nintendo Wii Just Dance 20.
I have never been less impressed.
Is it
except
also
for the
on the
Bethesda.
Switch?
Yeah, it's going to be the Switch. Yeah.
Like, the Wii is probably the gimmicky bit, but it's mainly for the Switch. Or is the Switch like, nah, we just want the Wii?
They're probably just like, we want to be the last game ever made for the Wii.
Let's be honest here. It's probably because there's probably a lot of people that bought Wiis that have not bought a new console since the Wii.
Still, though, are they going to buy Just Dance?
I suspect that there's a decent amount of that demographic that actually overlaps.
Actually, do
Yeah.
you reckon Just
I'm
Dance
assuming
works with
most
that
people
little...
that own a Wii bought it for Wii Fit.
That's what I was
And-
thinking. You got like a little boogie board or whatever it is you can stand on. Will that work for Just Dance?
I've
The
never
Wii
played
Fit
the game.
board?
I mean, you never know.
Or do you mean the Dance Dance Revolution board?
I didn't know there were more boards. What's this Dance Dance Evolution? Is like a little color stepping.
I thought that's that one. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong game.
I don't know, I've never had a console version, but I have had like those plastic mats with the arrows, coloured arrows, and you gotta step on them.
It's like Guitar Hero with your feet.
Yes. Wait, you don't play Guitar Hero with your feet?
It makes all the stuff dirty.
No, I don't. Sorry.
It's what Nick used to do to just challenge himself on bass.
We need to go up to hard because normal was difficult.
He was too good with his hands, so he started using his feet.
Left more hands to drink Coke.
He needed to drink while he played.
No one's talking, so I feel like I'm just gonna chuck out random stuff I've heard over the week.
Do it.
EA, they had their spokesman started talking about loot boxes again. I'm not too sure why. Might have been like in a
They got taken.
trial?
They got taken to court, basically.
yeah. So apparently one of the spokesmen compared loot boxes to Kinder Surprises.
Yep.
So for anyone that doesn't know what a Kinder Surprise is, it's like a kid's egg. It's like a thin, tiny chocolate egg, which barely has any chocolate in it and doesn't taste that great. But there's a plastic toy inside of it.
Actually, I actually have watched that video clip of when they said that, because you can actually find the whole video of it online. It wasn't so much Kinder Surprises that they were relating it to. That was just one example they gave. It was like mystery box toys, and they were like Kinder Surprises or whatever you call them here. Because
Yeah.
it was.
But like
I
the funny
think in
thing
Europe.
is, Kinder Surprises, I'm pretty sure they're banned in like America and a couple other countries. Like their law states
Yeah, they
something
are.
about you can't have a non-edible object inside of an edible object.
Yeah. So
Something to that effect. Yeah, you're right, Mark.
EA also wanted to rebrand loot boxes as surprise mechanics.
Yeah, that was funny. And they're totally safe and ethical, I believe was also what they phrased it as. These surprise mechanics.
I mean, they're not wrong. Like they are like mystery boxes and all that stuff. You had them as kids. Like you could buy like a lucky dip and you get random toys and stuff.
Yeah, there's a difference between the Lucky Dip at the fucking lolly shop, which you knew had some good candy in it. There was no like, oh, maybe I'll get a piece of paper instead of a candy bar. No, you're getting fucking candy in that thing. It's a different kettle of fish to, oh, will I get that rare knife? Or will I get a gun skin?
You were also
Or
getting something
Rocket League,
tangible.
like, will I get that decal for a car I don't even own?
Yeah, you were also getting something tangible and physical, so there was a minimum value due to the
Look, let's be fair. All those toys are just trash and ended up in the dump.
Wash
Like-
your fucking mouth out with soap.
honestly.
Heathen.
I don't think Kinder Surprises were the appropriate thing to compare it to. I would have gone more with like those mystery box things you can get from like EB Games, where it's like here's a random figurine out of a selection.
Like Loot Crate subscriptions as well, that type of thing.
Yeah, like
You get given a theme for the crate, you pay $35 and you get $35 or more of gear.
because the reality is with like things like Kinder Surprise, you're guaranteed chocolate.
Absolutely.
There's no question about it. You are receiving a chocolate egg.
You're
That
also
doesn't-
guaranteed alfoil.
Those shits also cost like 50 cents for a Kinder Egg. Or
Yeah,
$1.
like
So that's $1 for a chocolate egg.
they were basically basically selling people expensive chocolate, like chocolate that should be dead cheap for a high price,
It
by
didn't taste very good.
bundling a free toy. Whereas those things where you specifically buy a box of random crap, or buy a box that contains one random figurine out of God knows how many, or any
Like the Warhammer universe, when you buy figurines for the Warhammer game, Warhammer 40k.
or
Tabletop game?
buying trading cards.
That too.
Those sorts of things. This is actually more directly connected to, and
Trading card.
I also have a sneaking suspicion that most of those things are reasonably regulated in most places.
Yes, it's easier to place laws on things because they're physical.
Basically, every industry does some sort of loot box.
The garbage collection committee would like to have a word with you.
Let's be honest. Gambling is a lucrative business.
New South Wales would know, apparently.
The state of sin.
Is it?
What'd you say before, Cam? Like, almost...
Well, I haven't been able to verify the truth of this, but at least within Australia, my understanding is that New South Wales has got the largest number of pokies per capita.
Okay, I thought Queensland was.
Yeah, you walk down a street here, and Jesus Christ, you'll see so many places that are like pokies.
Also, legal brothels.
Like,
I mean, I went to Vegas and the airport was just a gigantic room of pokies or video pokers. What are they
Yeah.
called? Pokey machines?
the claim I've heard is that outside of possibly Vegas, New South Wales has the highest number of poker machines per person, but I don't know what the validity of that statement is, and I haven't had a chance to actually confirm it. But purely on anecdotal evidence, I would believe it so far.
Oh, good to know, good to know.
Come to Newcastle, Mark. We can go literally play blackjack with hookers. And it's legal.
I just find it hilarious that, like, at last video, you're like, oh, Cameron's in Adelaide. And, like, now you've pinpointed exactly where he is.
I don't remember saying he was in Adelaide.
Newcastle's also a reasonably sized city.
Apparently there's 500,000 people living in the region, which seems excessive, because the main street's pretty fucking dead.
On a Monday night.
It's about as dead as Gladstone.
Anyway, we are meant to talk about games occasionally.
What do you mean?
You know,
Blackjack.
Tony,
Blackjack's
is
a
it
game.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater?
Yes.
That was a good game.
There's an indie group sort of making a sort of version of that game called Skatebird. So it looks hilarious. It's just a basic indie game. It's just like a skating animated bird. And they've fundraised like $60,000 on Kickstarter so far.
So people are interested. I mean, to be fair, the old Tony Hawks were a lot of fun from my memory. Did you ever play him, Nick?
Tony Hawk?
Yeah, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
I don't think so. I think I might have played one, but I don't think I got that much into it.
I feel like any child in the 90s that bought cereal would have had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. The PC discs come in the cereal boxes.
Same with Age of Empires too, I remember.
So Nick did not own a computer or cereal.
No, I owned Age of Empires. One of that I was said.
Did he? Maybe Nick eats his cereal weirdly. Like, he just eats
I
the
eat-
box
I eat-
and
I
throws
eat-
out the cereal.
No, I just say I eat the cereal and any discs inside it.
Just really crunch them down. Oh, this cereal's a bit tastier today.
Clearly his parents used to put it in a separate container and throw the box and the toy out.
Nick's version of cereal was just milk.
Ew.
Tough times back then.
Yeah, how disgusting just plain milk tastes.
It tastes an awful lot like plain milk.
I hate it. I can't have it.
I hate it when
Wait,
my
John?
plain milk tastes like plain milk.
Mind you, though, I am allergic to milk, so maybe there is some correlation here.
Okay, moving on. Anyone else got some stuff?
I'm allergic to milk.
Are you lactose intolerant?
No, I can eat chocolate.
He loves toast.
Oh, hang on. Oh, hang on, I better.
The hell is that?
I think it's
It's
his
The
ringtone.
Lion King. They released another short. Can you feel the love tonight?
Oh god.
It's great. I cannot wait for that movie to come out. It's going to be so good.
I really want Luke to be here. Like, there's so much anime stuff that's been happening for weeks and Luke's never here.
What the fuck is Luke doing? What did he say? He had a client die.
Yeah, no, he had a client that was having some troubles.
The website is down. I'm on the phone at the moment. Well, Luke, I'm sorry, but your client clearly doesn't understand the greater good / greater fun.
Oh god.
Well, Square Enix, they make a bunch of Final Fantasy games and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently they're going to dabble into a subscription-based system. Not sure how that's going to work, because they're a multi-platform game, but, yeah.
What do you mean by a subscription-based system here? Because they
So-
already charge a subscription for Final Fantasy 14.
Sorry, like Game Pass and Origin Access and all that.
Oh, they are going that way.
They did have a statement that they're still going to support their other subscriptions, so like Xbox Game Pass. Whether that's expiring contract and they won't do it afterwards or not, I don't know.
Or would they just offer it together?
Yeah. I don't know, they have a fair variety of games, don't they? They have the Final Fantasy and like...
Yeah, Square
Nexus
Enix
Machine
does
and all
make a fair bit, like, but outside of JRPGs, if you're not interested in that, you're a bit up shit creek with them. Like, I'm actually having difficulty trying to think of anything they make that isn't a JRPG. Oh no,
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider is theirs.
And that story-driven thing, what's it called? Something Strange Life.
Life is strange.
Oh,
you mean.
Life is Strange.
Life is therapeutic. I can't imagine them having a like. I know they have a fair repertoire of games, but I can't imagine there being enough to make it worth the subscription. Most of their games go on sale almost on basis.
Yeah.
We're just flipping through their list of games at the moment. Let's go back from current date. Or upcoming. Dying Light is theirs?
Did you know spiders have 48 knees?
Are you
Can we
just
mute Raymond?
a lot of JRPGs in here. Left Alive is theirs. Just Cause is theirs.
Is that a prequel to Left 4 Dead?
No.
Oh, bugger.
Left Alive and then Left Dead.
The Tomb Raider series is theirs. More
A lot of
JRPGs.
stuff that's like budget games after a year or so.
Just Cause for budget game the moment it came out.
I think that's just the nature of Square Enix, so I think they just do pretty aggressively drop their prices. Deus Ex is actually Square Enix as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
So there's a bit of good stuff in here. But if you don't like JRPGs, you are a little screwed.
I do not like JRPGs.
I mean, they can give it a go. Like, no one's forcing anyone to buy it. It would just be interesting whether it would be profitable.
Have you given any hints on what they intend to do with it, apart from they want to try it?
Nah, it's all speculation and rumours so far, I think.
Well, based on what we've seen from everybody else in the last couple of weeks, I'd be guessing it's a reasonably safe bet if it's going to be $15 a month for pretty much their back catalogue plus new releases. Because that's what everybody else seems to be doing.
Speaking of subscriptions, I remember something about EA. Yeah, the EA CEO was talking about Anthem. So, everyone sort of thinks that game's dead so far, but apparently he wants to still bring life to it. He's quoting it being a 7 to 10 year IP.
7
I don't
to
know
10
whether
year?
that means he wants to keep continuing on to Anthem, keep updating it and make it into a better game, or to just make a sequel or something.
Surely that's got to be sequels.
7 to 10 years of what? There was no real plot. It was boring as fuck.
Yeah. But either that game's gonna get a sequel to bring some life into it, or like get made into a mobile game. I don't know.
I feel like they should just leave it, abandon it, fuck it off.
With the right direction and the right team behind it, it's a concept that's got at least some merit to it. It's just BioWare should not have been the ones making that, really, or at least that team at BioWare should not have been the ones making that. That's
Like I liked it. Like I liked the javelin suits and flying around and shit.
Yeah.
It's just the game itself was a bit
Like,
meh.
there's a good concept in there, and I don't think it was well executed, is the short version. I think the basic idea was good and reasonably solid. They just didn't find it right.
Yeah, there was a lot of lore and like secrets you could pick up in the in-game, so assuming they could make something out of that.
On another topic of something that's just going to continue until the end of the universe, WoW is getting its next patch, actually, before the recorded version of this goes up. Around about the time that the recorded version of this goes up. If you're watching the actual VOD of this, then it will have already been released.
So it's released tomorrow?
Well, technically it's released, I believe, at 1 AM on Wednesday. In Australia, it's Tuesday night for the rest of the world.
Yeah, so Wednesday, bright and early in the morning, you can play if you live in Australia or New Zealand, or any of the other Asian countries that are north of us.
But the ongoing continuation and basically evident proof that Blizzard's not giving up on this expansion, unlike what they did with Warlords of Draenor. Aborted
that shit like a fetus. Ooh.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see what comes out of BlizzCon this year. I don't know how many. Well, what are the rumors you guys have been following? But there is both a rumored Diablo 4 and an Overwatch 2. I don't know how much merit's really in either of those. I suspect that at least one of those two may actually be true. I don't know if I would put. I don't know if either of them I would actually put credit in right now. But in short, the rumor going around is that the WoW expansion this year's WoW expansion announcement is not the headline of BlizzCon, and that there is a larger, more significant game to be announced.
It's going to be Diablo 4. Wait, that's Diablo Eternal.
So, interesting question. How would you guys feel about an Overwatch 2?
I'm not interested in Overwatch 2, considering Overwatch 1 is not even really a game. It's a multiplayer pew-pew.
Yeah,
There's no real plot. If it's going to be Overwatch 2, it needs to be more along the lines of Overwatch, the campaign.
like what Raymond said, I'm pretty sure our first ever SomeCast we did, yous were just non-stop talking about Overwatch, and I was like, to be honest, I don't give a shit about Overwatch lore at all. I'd only be interested in it if there was an actual campaign and I played the campaign. So if Overwatch 2 is some type of campaign, I would be pretty interested.
I mean, my favourite moments of Overwatch is when the anniversary event comes around and we get the lore snippets, the campaign. Is it the
I
anniversary?
think you're thinking of Archives, not Anniversary.
Archives, same shit, different term. They're really close to each other and they both start with A. Archives, we get like a snippet of Overwatch history, and it's like, ooh, please, Lord Kaplan, give me more.
Nick, what about you? Where would you feel on an Overwatch 2?
Considering I hardly play it much anymore, I probably wouldn't be. It'd be neither here nor there, really. I'd give it a go, but probably just going to end up being much of the same. Watch all the play base shift from one to.
I think that's actually the biggest problem. It's like you would almost sunder your player base in half between those that decide to upgrade and those that don't.
Yeah,
I feel like what they might do is they would have the games linked together. So Overwatch would be the multiplayer Overwatch, and they would just call it Overwatch Archives, the game, and have that as a separate launcher that launches you into the single player mode.
Assuming they want to make a single player game, like
I mean, they could do it like Left 4 Dead, like they have already been doing, 4-player co-op, but a campaign.
then the question is if they don't make a campaign, they make just another multiplayer. That's just going to kill the first one.
Oh, absolutely. And they've spent the last 2 years working so incredibly hard to make the Overwatch League an actual thing, to the point where whoever's in control of the email notifications needs to calm the fuck down. Last time I got an email from them, there was more emoticons in that email than there were actual words or letters. But yeah, if they made Overwatch 2, that would just... the multiplayer game of Overwatch 2. Why the fuck would I want to play either of those two games?
well, they would almost be banking on it going down the Counter-Strike route at this point, because like, look at the history of Counter-Strike. They have managed to release 3 different versions of Counter-Strike, and all 3 are to some extent still maintained to this day, and they're all functionally the same game.
I can't see Overwatch being able to do that though.
The only other real example in this field is what happened with Dota, and I don't know if that's exactly the way they want to take this.
What? Spend 10 years in beta, go to Steam, spend 10 years in beta, release the game, still be called beta.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that would work for them. The like maybe the idea of it works if it's a clean enough upgrade, but if you're going multiplayer to multiplayer, you have to give a solid reason for why. And the reality is, Overwatch looks fine.
And I don't think they're really limited by their engine, are they?
I don't know. Don't know what the technical limitations of that engine are. It's Blizzard's own internal thing, so technically speaking, they could do whatever the hell they want to it. It would just end up being a huge patch if they made any massive overhauls.
Yeah,
They'd be limited by the consoles though, because it's a console game as well.
Maybe that's the ground for an Overwatch 2, because the reality is we're getting a new console generation next year. Like, there's going to be a number of games that are either going to have to do a sequel or do a re-release.
I mean, that would make sense if they decided to do that single-player campaign, because if you tie that in with the console, it gives you a reason to buy a console. If you didn't want to play the campaign on the computer, or you're a pre-existing Overwatch console player, and you want to upgrade to the new console,
See,
buy the Overwatch Ultimate Edition comes with Overwatch and Overwatch Archives, or whatever they're going to call the second game. Not Overwatch 2, please, thanks.
I don't think it's a safe bet to get hyped up on the idea of it being a campaign or a single-player game of any kind. I think the reality is if there is a second Overwatch game, it's going to be another multiplayer game. The best you're going to hope for here is a Titanfall 2 situation where they've added a stronger campaign focus onto what was already established as a multiplayer game.
Just doesn't make sense to re-release the multiplayer game.
Look, I'm expecting Overwatch Battle Royale.
Yeah. That'd be an interesting idea, because I don't know if any of Blizzard's engines would handle a Battle Royale situation at the moment.
Just put them on the WoW server. You already have the big PvP things. What's that, 16 versus 16 or something?
WoW PvP Battle Royale.
Yeah. Alterac Valley. How many people do you fit in Alterac?
It's 40v40, but
That's close to 100. Just make them all free-for-all.
I think that's the largest instance that WoW runs anymore.
Just remove those teams and have them all free-for-all. And Bob's your uncle. You've got an 80-person battle royale in Alterac. Wait, isn't Alterac that really skinny map?
Alterac's reasonably long, and it's like it's basically just a long, arguably 2-lane map. But
okay.
Yeah.
Xbox has done it again. They seem to have taken a Epic exclusive game again. Phoenix Point. It's some sort of science strategy game made from the XCOM creators. It's going to be on Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass. So that is another title that Epic's had that is going to be on PC, Microsoft.
The publishers are loving this.
I think the reality
these games.
The weird reality of this is that Microsoft's actually the one seeming to take the fight most to Epic.
I want to know how they're legally doing it. Like, do they have some sort of hidden agreement with Epic that they can just use their games, or what?
I don't know. Like, most of the Epic agreements are temporary stuff, so maybe the terms of that are short enough that Microsoft can come in at this point. Or maybe it's that, technically speaking, Microsoft still has publishing rights of the Xbox version, and through the Play Anywhere system that also carries over to the Microsoft store. I don't know.
That would be a good way of cheating the rules, because I bet you when they made the rules, they probably didn't take into consideration cross-platform Xbox to computer.
Yeah.
Suck shit, Epic.
I think I have a sneaking suspicion here that the reality is Microsoft was reasonably content with Steam running the PC marketplace, and I suspect they're a lot less happy with the idea of Epic running it.
Yeah, I don't know how their relations are though, because didn't Epic make Gears of War and like Microsoft bought it off Epic?
I believe they did. I can't remember if Microsoft owned the rights and Epic made the games, or if Epic actually owned all of it and it was just an Xbox exclusive that Microsoft was paying money for. I'm really not sure there.
Yeah, so they do have some sort of business relations.
That's quite a while back now, though.
Yeah. Oh, actually, speaking of, I told you a while ago, the last backwards compatible Xbox game come out and it came for free. It was Too Human. So it's a bit related to Epic Games. So the developers of Too Human had a big run around. Like they initially started on like Sony and Nintendo, and then they finally got published by Xbox. And they were having bad development issues and tried to sue Epic Games, saying that their Unreal Engine 3 had bad maintenance and like they didn't have any development tools, and like they were holding their own tools to use for their own games and not giving it out on their published version or something like that. And they ended up failing that lawsuit, and the game just flopped and they couldn't sell it anymore.
So just like Microsoft was accusing Epic of holding back the game development tools, or was it Epic accusing Microsoft?
Or was
Nah,
the
it was the developers
Too
of Too Human.
Oh,
And the publisher was Microsoft, but the developers were trying to sue Epic.
right.
Yeah, fucking good luck.
Yeah. I mean, this was way back, like Xbox 360
I was gonna
time.
say, I thought the tools for Unreal were all available to the public if they wished to subscribe to the Unreal Engine-y thingamajiggy.
This is hard to judge at the moment because the reality is that Unity has done an awful lot for forcing the other major game engine companies to playing a nicer ball game. CryEngine and Star Citizen have actually been at each other's throats a heap over licensing terms, and it's only really Unity bringing in a just stock standard nup, here's everything style rule that's caused CryEngine to back off there. And I suspect a similar thing's happening with Unreal, because like the modern version of Unreal Engine is very very easy to use and has a very simple user license agreement, but I suspect much older ones did not.
You mentioned Star Citizen.
Well, just to can't really run this one too long, but so we might move on to the next part of what's people been up to, what's their plan for the next couple of weeks of gaming. Have you got anything coming for the channel that we should talk about?
No?
No
I
plan.
have spent the last month trying to connect to the NBN so I can upload my fucking Civ game to the channel so that the 3 people who are watching, including Mr. Idaho, could finish watching. But no, we don't know how to connect your NBN line because we're fucking incompetent shits. So maybe when I get back from my holiday, maybe I'll be able to connect and finally upload some Civ.
For anybody outside of Australia, NBN is our national broadband network, and it's a government-run thing for trying to bring Australia's internet into a somewhat modern age.
Due to the mismanagement of the network, we are currently ranked worse than Kazakhstan.
Yeah, it's not going great.
I am so livid. We had an opportunity to have fiber across our whole nation, and then they fucked it, and now we're worse than Kazakhstan. Just... Grr. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm going on holiday to go see some snow, and then when I get back, I'll try uploading some Civ for the 3 people who watched the Civ thing. Mark?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Not much. There's a new Astroneer update, some summer theme, so I was thinking I might try that out next week or something. Other than that, we just played Torchlight 2 and Stellaris the last couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, we did play Stellaris, didn't we? I got so fucking grumpy with my Civ.
You still actively playing Torchlight?
Trying to, but it's hard to get 4 people together at one time.
Okay. Let me know next time you do it, I might join in.
Yeah, I did see that you've played 10 minutes in the last 2 weeks.
Yep, it's a tough 10 minutes, but I got through it.
Get a character up to level 16. That's where we are at the moment.
Speaking of Torchlight 2, I did see that around September-ish, it's going to be released on consoles as well. I don't know if that means it's going to be cross-platform, whether your characters roll over to PC. Does Diablo 3 do that? Is it cross-platform?
No, Diablo doesn't. I doubt Torchlight's going to, but we'll see.
That's a shame. Not that, console can play with PC, just the fact that, the characters could roll over would be good.
Yeah. It depends on... the reason Diablo didn't is because the game was naturally balanced quite differently for console to PC. Basically due to a whole bunch of factors, but coming down to it, the controller, and that at the time the PC version was very auction housey. Oh well, no, they had taken it out, the auction housey side of things out of it by then, but yeah, the 2 versions haven't been developed. It wasn't the same game. It was 2 distinct, different versions of it, so that's why they were kept completely separate and completely isolated.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen so far of Torchlight, I suspect the same thing will end up happening with Torchlight.
Yeah, well, there's not much else happening for me. I did feel the need to start playing random old Star Wars games. I started playing Dark Forces, but I'm not too sure if I'm going to finish playing that or continue on with my Star Wars saga.
How far into Dark Forces have you made it?
About 4 levels.
You're further than I ever made it.
It's interesting. I don't know whether it's compared to what it should look like to what it looks like now, but there's sections in it where it's just completely dark and you can't see anything. I don't know whether there's meant to be at least some type of light or visibility in the original version.
I do sort of remember that happening, but I'm not. It was so long ago that I can't comment. I played it back on PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
Just turn the brightness up, Mark, you'll be right.
That would be interesting if I knew how to do that, because it's basically just running off DOSBox.
Basically, I'm pretty sure it is.
It is running off DOSBox, and there's no graphical settings in the options really.
Your monitor brightness, just turn that up.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Stellaris. I do actually have a Stellaris video series coming. When I can be asked enough to actually edit and upload it. Beyond that, I've got on and off guests for pretty much the next 2 weeks, so I don't know how much gaming I'm going to get in, but
Sorry for existing.
You're only here for 2 days of that.
That's true. Then you've got your sister, but you do
Yeah.
have your parents coming around for a full fucking week.
Yeah. So, we'll see what happens. The Crash Team Racing came out a couple of days ago, and I've been meaning to pick that up. I'm interested in giving that a shot.
If everything gets set up tomorrow, do you reckon we can play it tomorrow night?
Is this like you forcing Cameron to buy it?
He already has it.
No, I haven't. No, I don't.
No, I haven't. I don't. It's a surprise for me.
I have not yet bought the game.
It's gift wrapped in his bedroom.
Yeah. You remember those 4 boxes that he packed up? Yeah, that's what it is. It was just full of Crash Bandicoot tapes.
Yeah, I bought the entire stock on the East Coast. What about you, Nick?
What about me?
Exactly. Moving on.
What's your plans for the next fortnight?
Much at all, really. I've only been playing a couple of games, and most of them didn't 2-player games with Luke. Like the PS4 got the Division 2. Actually, isn't too bad. And playing a bit of Vermintide on the PC. A little bit of variety with my gameplay.
A little bit of Vermintide in my life.
Nicely done, Nick.
A little bit of Sandra in the sun. A little bit of Mary all night long.
Well, so that we don't have to just listen to Raymond sing, does anybody have anything else to add? Or shall we wrap this one up a little early?
Keanu Reeves is being suggested for a role in a new Marvel movie.
Ooh. Have they announced which Marvel movie?
No, the dude in control of the whole Marvel universe has basically stated that
It's Kevin Feige, isn't it?
every movie he consults Keanu and says, "We have a role for you," but he declines, I think.
So basically he desperately wants Keanu Reeves to play any part.
Yeah, from the quotes I could tell, that's basically what's happening, unless it's just a joke.
Maybe, I don't know. Difficult to tell.
The quote is, "We talked to Keanu Reeves about joining the Marvel Universe."
Who the hell would he play? Like, who's up his alley? What type of Marvel character would he be?
Hawkeye.
Keanu is anything but useless, Mark.
That's why he's perfect for Hawkeye.
Black Widow.
Look, I mean, I would be interested to see Keanu Reeves in skin-tight spandex, flipping around and snapping bitches' necks.
We already saw that movie. It was called The Matrix. Alright. Any more, guys?
Not really.
Oh, that's it for me, really.
Oh, thanks for adding so much, Nick, as always.
No worries. I'll be here next fortnight.
What I
Cheers.
really wanted to talk about was the new ARG, the Harry Potter Wizards
Oh, the Harry Potter game.
Unite game.
Yeah.
But I haven't played it, and I'm pretty sure Luke's the only one that has played it, which is a shame.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to get his take on that, because the only things I've heard so far is people comparing it to Pokemon Go and talking about how less successful than Pokemon Go it is. It's like, of course it's not going to be as big as Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go is Pokemon.
The main complaint I've seen so far is they're using the mobile strategy of energy. So once you run out of energy, then you have to wait for a timer, I'm assuming, to get your energy back up.
Yep.
That again.
So, or you spend a shit ton of money on the game to buy energy.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's
I've
dead.
never been less interested.
You probably need Luke to supply.
Yeah,
Is this
so
the Harry Potter thing?
Pokemon Go did similar stuff, like you have your bag space and you get credits from the gyms, or you could buy credits. And it worked for some people. Like, people spent a fortune on the Pokemon Go game, but I don't see it happening for Harry Potter.
No. No, I don't think so.
I mean, there's also a bunch of Destiny 2 stuff, like there's the new bow, but again, that's Luke's territory.
That's Luke's bread and butter. Luke, why are you not here? Nick, why is Luke not here?
I don't know. I'll ask him.
Shall we wrap it up with a harmonica, or does Raymond not have it?
He doesn't have it.
I do actually have it, but Cameron didn't want to let me go down to the car.
Oh, of course it
She
wasn't.
gave me the finger. So yeah, unfortunately,
They've all done really
the
well
harmonica
then.
is here. It's just like 50 meters away from me in the car.
Run to the car, we promise it won't close.
Hang on, I've got a second. Alright, I found something. This'll work. Just let it load.
And stop.
Skip!
Alright. Thanks for watching, everyone. We won't subject you to any more of that. I might have to continue because he's currently 10 meters away. But
10 minutes, you got a long apartment.
It's like 3.
oh,
Raymond is sitting on your lap.
send help, please.
Thank you for watching. We'll be back with a real harmonica next time.
Goodbye, all.